back. So today we're going to be talking about Dave Ramsey and his mortgage advice. And his mortgage advice is pretty simple. Put down 20%, although he allows 10% now if you check the website, guys. Make sure it's no more than 25% of your net pay and do a 15-year mortgage. Okay, sounds super simple, right? We're gonna dig into it. Now, if you're not familiar with the channel, I am a mortgage lender licensed in 48 states. My team's one of the top purchase teams in America. So if you guys have questions, hit on the calendar, get on there. We answer them for free all day. We're here to help you guys plan to buy a house. Okay, so let's focus on the matter at hand, which is how realistic is it to do a 15-year fixed in America with it only being 25% of your net take-home pay. So that's after taxes, guys, okay? So I did some basic math and I did a little research, and let me tell you what I saw. So first of all, I saw that the average housing price in 2023 across America, and it depends on the source, it's between $416 and $496. Okay. Cool. So if we take the average housing price, let's assume we're gonna go in the middle there and we're gonna do 20% down. I'm not even gonna mess around with the 10% because I wanna make sure the numbers I'm giving you guys are as realistic as possible if you're following his advice. Okay, so I determined let's do a loan amount of $400,000 because when he's talking about monthly payments, I'm assuming just principal and interest. If it also includes taxes and insurance, these numbers are going to get a lot scarier. Now, I did stop by the Ramsey Solutions page before I did this video because I wanted to make sure that what I was speaking of was accurate to what they were quoting today. Everything I've said so far is accurate. The one thing that was super interesting to me is on their website, when they're talking about how a 15-year works, they're using an interest rate of 4%. As I film this, it's 2023. Rates haven't been 4% in a real long time. So I do have to say they need to update their website because if you're going to give mortgage advice, you shouldn't be giving advice with interest rates that are neither realistic or available. Okay? But look, we're going to crack into it because what you're going to find is not much of it is realistic. Yeah. Okay, so loan amount is $400K. I'm going to do a 15-year fixed mortgage. And I did it at 6%, which is actually a little bit lower than where the market is as I film this right now, but the market's trending down, so we'll see. So 6%, okay? Great. The payment, the principal and interest would be $33.75. Okay, so Dave's saying that $33.75 should only be 25% of your net. So how much do you have to net every month so that you meet his expectations? Yeah, you've got a net close to $13,501 a month, net, after tax. Great. Okay, so basically that's $162 net, $162,000 net, okay? Let's add in some taxes. Now look, this will vary based on where you live, your deductions, all that fun stuff. But basically, in order to meet Dave's requirements to purchase a home in America, $400K loan, 15-year fixed. Do you guys want to guess real quick how much you got to gross? What is the skyline number of what that salary needs to be to make those guidelines? Guess. Drop it in the comments if you guys have a guess. Seriously. Yeah. So depending on where you live, you're going to have to make $225 to $250 a year. Yeah. It's for a $400,000 loan on a 15-year fix, guys. Yeah. $225,000 to $250,000. Now, I looked at that number and I said, I don't feel like I see a lot of people in America making that money. So then I went down another rabbit hole. I said, what percentage of people in America make over $200,000 a year? Because here's the thing, it's not like I'm doing the numbers for a multi-million-dollar house. I'm doing what the average cost of a house in America is. And the average cost of a house in America with 20% down, right? Doing the 15-year fixed, 25% take-home pay, you've got to make $225 to $250. Wow, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Okay, so what percentage of Americans make over $200,000? So I went to one of my favorite websites, and I'll have a link to it for you guys here. Well, in 2022, 11.9% of Americans made over $200,000. So if you actually are staying true to Dave's principles, only 11.9% of Americans, no other debt, guys, no other debt, remember, would qualify to buy a house. 400K loan, okay? So you're like, oh, I'll put down more, I'll put down more. I mean, look, we can do these numbers at a sliding scale, but the bottom line is they're not realistic. And I don't know that anyone has actually sat down at his team and done the math to go, Dave, just so you know, like if we do these numbers, like if someone wants a 400K loan, which is pretty much the average right now, they're gonna have to make over 250. Yeah, and only 12%, 11.9 of Americans do this. We might be alienating people. No one does the math. No one does the math. You know, and that's the thing. And so what I find frustrating about it is, you know, and if you're like, well, you're a lender, you just want to get people in a lot of debt. No, I don't want to get people in a lot of debt. But I also don't want people being deprived of home ownership because they're giving some unrealistic bar to measure up to. It's elitist. It's that simple. Saying that only 12% of Americans can buy the average cost of a house, it's elitist, you know? And that's the thing, like, do I think 25% of take-home pay is realistic? No, not in most parts of the country. No, it's just not the way housing versus income works in America right now. And if people are holding out until they make this magical number, you know, they might want to start doing it in the reverse. Because I'll hear people go, oh, I'm at 35, but I got to get to the 25, you know, and they're trying to figure out what they can do to get there. And it's like, well, you better make another $100,000. You know, you better make a heck of a lot more money, because to get to that parameter with the cost of rates and the cost of living, you're going to have to make a fortune. So that's my frustration with it, is that it's preached like everybody can do this. And when you actually start to do the math, it's not realistic. And if you're like, I'll buy a less expensive house. Okay, great. If there's less expensive houses around you, you should be looking at that. Always look, get the best house you can for the least amount of money. That's common sense, right? Like, there's a lot of common sense that comes into play. Buy a house that you can actually afford. Do a budget and see what you can afford by a payment before you even go shopping, right? Common sense. This, I don't know, guys. This is, and that's the thing, is everybody's situation's unique, and the way that lenders look at income, everything else is unique. So to have these like bold, you know, you need to do a 15-year fixed, it can't be more than 25% of your take home. Like, I don't know, unless you have a trust fund or you have someone with money that's giving you a huge down payment, I just don't see how you get there. I don't see how you hit that goal. And my frustration is a lot of people are believing this without doing the math and going, wow, this isn't super realistic. Like, what world does this make sense? So there's people actively being discouraged, yeah, that's right, from buying a home. They're being encouraged to rent because of a metric they'll never make. Whoa, right? Talk about you will own nothing and be happy, right? So look, feel free to disagree, guys. Throw some numbers at me, but I did sit down and I did the math, and I went down that rabbit hole, and I went, wow, this is really unattainable for most people in America. And a lot of people are believing this advice without looking at the math and without realizing that what they're being told is something they may never reach. And also, what they're being told may not actually make sense for their situation. 25% take home, guys, that's a dream. It's a dream. Look at the cost of housing. Look at where wages are. Can you have a nice life and have it be more than that? I see it every day. I see it every day. I don't think I know anyone in California where their take home is, you know, their 25% of their mortgage is their take home. I mean, maybe Bezos. Oh, nope, he's Miami now. Maybe Zuckerberg, I don't know. I mean, look, we can go further in these numbers. I mean, take a state like California. California, the houses are $1 million, like at a minimum. So 20% down, gosh, you got to be making over $500,000, probably 600, 700, 800. I mean, we can do the numbers on that. But the bottom line is this: it's a very restrictive, unrealistic guideline. And if you are holding off on buying a house because you're trying to meet this metric, make sure you understand how much income you would actually have to make to meet this metric. And what I would strongly suggest instead, guys, do a budget. Do a budget. If you guys follow Ramsey, you're already doing a budget. Do a budget of what you can afford monthly for a payment, okay? Forget those numbers. Do a budget, and then let's work to that, because guess what? It may be a 30-year, and that's okay. If you end up making more money, you can put more towards the principal, but don't not buy a house because you're trying to hit an elitist goal. So I hope this video has been helpful. Look, I'm here to support you guys. The math on this one scared me because there are so few people in America that make over